All right, thank you, Dr. Ndifon. Happy to have you in our studios,
That's a great
our
privilege.
Magodi studios.
That's right.
Now, this is your first time on my show. We're glad that you were able to spare some time to come see us here in our studios.
Thank you.
Now, today, what we're looking at, if you look at the Human Development Index, you find that it's mostly African countries. When you're looking at the bottom of the scale, it's mostly African countries that rank there. Probably the bottom 20 countries are like mostly, perhaps with the exception of countries like Yemen also,
Or Haiti.
Afghanistan,
Yes.
or perhaps Haiti. It's
Yes.
mostly African countries.
Yes.
And then if you look at other scores, if you look at electricity provision, Africa also ranks very low. That's why they call the continent the dark continent. So the question is, in terms of development, why are we so underdeveloped? Does it have any connection with leadership and with morality or anything like that?
First of all, we have to define what morality is,
Yes.
and what leadership is, and
Yes.
then we put that together. One of the things you find that morality is the standard by which we define right and wrong. And one of the other things you find out, it comes from either yourself, from the family, sometimes from the community, or from religion, from the government, or other entities that make this up, and that influences how the thought process of the people normally is. So when you understand that, and you understand who's leading in that, and how they come to decisions that actually moves the community forward, then you begin to talk about leadership and morality. Now, why Africa is in certain ways in that direction is because everything rises and falls on leadership. So anything that is wrong with a place, you just look at the leader, because it becomes an expression of his leadership or her leadership.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about morality and moral judgment, I think for most part it has to do with what values do these leaders hold dear that is influencing the destiny of the people. So it actually has to do with what views have shaped their actions. So I agree with you that it has something to do with that. But not only that, is whether they have the will to explore other alternatives also. Because one thing about morality is if it's derived from the society, from the country, then as the country changes, the moral values would also change. So depending on what direction the change is progressing, it determines what direction the economic, socioeconomic condition of the people goes to.